Welcome to Wellness Radio with Dr. Jeanette-Gallagher as your host. Her show discusses topics of health, wellness, and spirituality, and is about discovering your place in this great universe, from your cells to the cosmos. Along with her guest, in casual conversation, she strives to ask the difficult questions that may be holding you back from a vibrant life, and shares new ideas that may inspire you to make a change in your life that you only can see in your dreams. And now, here is Dr. Jeanette-Gallagher.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Wellness Radio. This is Dr. Jeanette-Gallagher, and it's a pleasure to have you with us here this evening. Tonight, we are going to be talking about the life, the tapestry that we have woven over the past several decades. What can we look back in retrospect and say, wow, that's a fascinating story. That was a grand experience. Look at all of the highs, the lows, the holes I sunk into, and my goodness, how many times did I chase that rabbit down the dark hole? And wasn't that fantastic? We can always think about our experiences in life, and we say, that was so hard. Oh, that's really harsh. And still carry the suffering as a burden, as guilt, as shame. And then we are looking forward to, we have to do penance so we can be freed from these chains that we feel that are binding us. When in essence, it's sometimes our thoughts, our mind, our consciousness, and even our heart that is holding us at bay. Are we willing to perhaps look back at the past and say, I'm free from all of that. I am through it. It no longer plays out in my today, and stop turning our head back around to always drag the past to become the present and have it become our identity. Truly what we're talking about is how can you shed your identity? How can you live a free life and just enjoy the moment in time, no matter what went on yesterday, the week before, 20 years ago, or several decades. Today, my guest is Patricia Stanway. Her book is A Life's Tapestry. It's a book full of poems that are absolutely wonderful about being able to, as I wrote in the front of the book, it's a retrospect romancing of a life well lived. It's truly about saying it's fantastic. Because if we have regrets, it's kind of like that thing, that little dark shadow that's poking you on your shoulder. And I don't know about you. You know that those are, I think it was several years ago or maybe decades ago, who knows, when you used to put the little angel pin on your shoulder. Well, we don't even need those anymore. We don't need reminders. We are just flying free. Patricia, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Jeanette. I'm really looking forward to this, and I humbly thank you for having me on your show, too.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you because, you know, I think today has kind of been like they were putting up, you know, windows where we have broken windows, and they were trying to fix some of the roofs, and it's a little bit more dense in that heavy energy, and I'm thinking, I need to fly free today. I need to have a light conversation, and I wonder who's coming down the pike, and there you showed up.
Oh, well, I aim to please.
That's right. Well, Patricia, I think, you know, what I love about your book, A Life's Tapestry, on the front, it really shows the highs and the lows, the picture on the front, and how you're able to create something that's positive going forward. I think we tend to say, but this is my life, and people have been afraid to talk about it. And you intimately share about your life in all of your poems, yes?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. I just adore the front of it because when I was talking to our universe, I insisted that they give me an image that is a woman looking forward because we don't know about the future. We're excited about what's coming in the future, but all of the back is like the burdens that have passed to me. They've been heavy, they've been light, they've been full of fun, they've been full of joy, pain, but they're behind me. And I think it's so important that we continue to look forward rather than drag, as you said, drag everything from the back of your life into the front of your life because you don't see what's coming. You really don't. And you don't want to see what's coming because you keep thinking about it. Going back is pain. To me, that's That's it. That's what I believe, and that's what my book really reflects that, I think.
Yeah, because when you're looking forward into the unknown, you're looking into, as I call it, this great expansion of potential. In other words, you have an excitement. You don't always have to plug in the excitement by capturing or recapturing old memories, because, I mean, I'm in my late 60s, you're in your early 70s. As we know, we can't keep stepping into those old memories and trying to recreate them to get that feeling inside that we need, that, you know, brings us to this place of whole, or feels like our heart is delighting, or feel like something's exciting. We can't do it anymore. It's almost as if that door has closed for us, and it no longer exists. Have you noticed that?
Yes, I have. What I find wonderful about life is that each trial that you have, that you go through, I see it and experience it as a reshaping of who I am. You can't go through life and have no trials without it changing you in some way. But it's the way that you embrace it, it's the way that you actually express yourself when you're dealing with it, that really have this amazing shaping of who you are. And it does something to you spiritually, it does something to you emotionally. And it's beautiful because, as I said, I just see my life as being reshaped. I'm on the potter's wheel, and all of those trials are coming, and everything is reshaping me. It's smoothing me out. It's making me understand, and I'm becoming a new shaped person. And I think everyone should embrace this because it's a beautiful thing to be able to do.
Yeah, it's learning about a new way, I call it, to actually fly free, or to be able to float, to be in that higher space. You know, a lot of times people will say, you need to ground yourself. You need to ground yourself in the earth. That's where you are. Go out and walk in the earth. And I'm going, oh, Lord, that's just too heavy for me sometimes. I need to actually fly free. Look at the clouds. Feel the breeze. Breathe in the air. You know, and I think we all have our own positions in which it feels best to us. But I think to also understand everyone's stories, how they reflect on them, how they let them go, is also an individual choice. It's an individual process, and there are different tools and ways to be able to do that, don't you think?
Yes, I agree with that. I think, for me anyway, I realize that everyone is unique. We're all made from day one in the image of God, and we have all these amazing things inside of us that through life will emerge. The beauty is that you are not like me. We may have the same opinions. We may see things and discern things which are exactly the same. But really, the way I experience them is different than the way that you will experience them. It doesn't make my trials any harder or yours any, even simpler. It just means that we're all unique, and we all deserve to be loved, and we all deserve to have compassion. But we also have to give compassion to ourselves. We have to understand that we are worthy of love, and love is something that can be elusive in some people's mind. They don't really understand what it is. But nevertheless, it shapes each and every one of us. And for me to embrace that is admitting to myself that, I don't know everything. I'm continuing to move in my journey of life, but I open my mind to everything. And as you said, grounded, I never want to be grounded. My wings are always open, and I love to fly. I have imagination, and it's wonderful. You can fly. Yeah. I agree with you there.
Yeah, I think sometimes I've never been the type person who liked things like in the colors of green and brown, because that always meant to me earth. I was always tending more towards the lighter stuff, and it's always been that way. So I think to be able to find that for ourselves, That's wonderful for us, and know that we can navigate in that space and time. Once we find that we can navigate in that, no matter what comes along, we might be able to shoot down and have an experience on the earth and be able to say, oh, this was horrible, this is absolutely terrible, and kick off our boots and say, okay, let's wash them off and we need to go fly again. So in other words, we've become expert, as I call it, shapeshifters. We have become those that can live in the etheric, the esoteric, the philosophical, the human, the dogma, and the past. We can live in all of these realms at the same time. That's when you have superseded the linear human life, don't you think?
Yes, I mean, I couldn't have put it in a better way, actually. My colors, for me, have always been, since a child, red. I had this fascination with red. And I've realized as I've evolved that I have passion. I have passion for everything in life. I just understand that the cosmos is connected. Like everything, I mean, I'm fascinated with it. I'm fascinated with stars, the nebula, you name it. I love the cosmos. But I also understand the spiritual world versus the world. The world will try and tell you who you are. The world will try and tell you what you should look like. But the truth is, when you stand alone and you stand there, you have to understand that the world doesn't know you. It doesn't know you at all. You have to get to know yourself. You have to know your limits, but you have to spread your wings and seek the truth. You have to seek what is good. You have to seek. If you don't understand what love is, find out what it is. If you don't understand what passion is, like go deep within yourself. But remember, we're all unique. And thus, if we visit the cosmos once a week, which I honestly do, and I look up all the time, and I read all the books, the Hubble telescope, I immerse myself in the glory of what is above this earth, as well as the beautiful nature that is everywhere. And how many people run so fast through life, they don't even stop to look at a hummingbird. They don't even stop to smell a rose. It's like a huge matrix. And if you want to be pinned down by that matrix on the earth, go ahead. I say no. You push through that. And when you do, the world opens up in such a way that it's exciting. It's joyful. There's exaltation. And that's, for me personally, that's how we should live our lives.
Absolutely. My colors are pink and purple. Always been, always will be. And that's always been my colors, And even when you said about going through life, I have photos. I take probably 10, maybe 20, almost every day. I used to do it. And then now I'm pretty much maybe 2 or 3 times a week. But I've got over 70,000 photos. And what I do with the photos is, they would be of a salamander or of a rock or of clouds or of shadows on a tree or water dripping down off of a leaf, whatever it might be. It's all kinds of things. And I use them as giving back cards on my giving back page on my website. And they're for elders to be able to connect to that sense of the world and the energy in it. I think sometimes, just as you said, people go through and they have no even clue what they're passing by. They're just so focused on this material stuff, and they think that the humans are the only ones that exist here. You know what? It's so funny, and I could probably talk about this for a second, Patricia, because in your book, when you share about your poems, you truly are in touch with the colors of the water, the shadows, the deepness, the sensuality, the lust, the love, all of these different topics you talk about, but they're all intimate kind of energy forms that you can surf when you're able to feel the energy of the earth. Then you say, this is what the world is made out of. So many times people will say, but who are you? And they're looking for this identity, or what I always call, it's the human wetsuit that we wear. Our soul is the essence inside. It's a small glitter ball made of energy of our vital force. We wear a human wetsuit. Who we are or what we are about are the badges that are stuck on our wetsuit. So it just depends which one you hit with an LED light for the other person to connect with so that they can have a conversation, because very rarely does anyone actually get through the crack in the wetsuit and find the other person's soul on the other side. And then when you do that, you don't need to ask them who they are, what they're doing, because you're already engaged. Don't you think? I think sometimes we're like sitting here pushing these buttons trying to find the way in, and it's sort of because you're stuck with the buttons. It's not about that at all, right, of life?
No, it isn't. And I believe, and I know, actually, there's a deep knowledge in me that there is a stamp inside of me, and there's light inside of me. And I truly believe that what is in your heart will come through, because the mind and the heart work together. If you convince yourself that you are a victim and that stays in your heart, as you said before, the pain stays there, nothing happens. But the beauty of it is that light is in you. You shed that light out. People will see that light and they respond to that. And you may get a few people say, well, what's your problem? And I say, well, actually, I don't have a problem. And they'll say, well, how come you're the way you are? Well, because I am who I am. I know who I am. And that light within me, in my heart, I'm not a perfect human being, and no one is. We're all capable of so many things. But the beauty of it is, for me personally, spiritually, when I know that that light's in me, it's my responsibility to actually shine that light outwards. And by doing that, it opens up a real, true essence of within me to understand how I was created, to understand everything that's being put at me is actually to build that very essence of luminosity, because every day is a better day. Even when there are trials, things go wrong.
Right.
I don't even honestly focus on it. I don't fear. I just relish the fact that I just woke up on my pillow and I'm breathing. And that is a gift. That's a huge gift.
I think when people say that, too, it's when they are not in touch with themselves. In other words, they're trying to bounce off on your LED lights, so to speak, and nothing's lighting up, And they kind of are finding a place that would give them comfort to validate who they are. Don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. As human nature is, I understand human nature. We're all capable of so many things, all of us, and there's no difference. But our choices take us to places that are good places and bad places. But when a person is talking to you, for me personally, I've had experiences talking to people like this, and you can see in their eyes there is something missing. There's pain, or there's this almost reluctance really to talk to you. They don't know really what they're asking you. But I think the beauty of it is that when they do say to you, who do you think you are? You sit down and you tell them. You tell them who you are. And this way, if you can reach this person and get them engaged in conversation, even if you don't know if you've made a difference in their life, after the conversation, you leave and you wish them well, there could be an element, just a seed of something that you have implanted in them to make them understand that where they are, they're like a leaf in a hurricane. But the truth is that you can stop being in a hurricane and you can control where that leaf goes. Right. And I think that's a gift. I think that is a gift. And for me personally, God has given me certain things. He teaches me certain things. But it's that light. That light will always make the difference. No matter if you're sitting next to someone who is deeply troubled, there's always a light and always a seed that you can leave and change somebody's life. You may not even see the change. You may, but that's not in your control. Your responsibility is to plant it, right?
Yeah. And I also think, too, it's about what is the word love these days. I think many people think that it's romantic love or spousal love or love from your children and all this. And in essence, sometimes people can take the word love and they use it as a tool to control, to have ownership, to say, my kids, my husband, my this, my that, Yeah. And it becomes such an ownership thing that you become so invested and so tethered to it that if the other person actually tries to move or expand or evolve or anything, it really distorts your connection with them, and it causes a lot of friction, don't you think?
Yes. After being married and divorced, after going through many things, just looking at the word love. First of all, this world, I think love is one of the most overused words, making it so empty and void when it comes to the media. Love is, a sexual encounter. You fall in love in one moment. All of these things are made to program you in a certain way so that you behave in a certain way. Right. But the truth is that when you're in a marriage or even in a relationship, love isn't just something you can say, I love you. It has to be put into action. It never controls the other person. It never punishes the other person. Love is patience, compassion, understanding. It's when your wife or your husband is throwing up, in the toilet because they're ill. It's holding their hair back so that they don't get it all over them. Love is taking care of someone. And I think that for me personally, can I just quote a little tiny story? It won't take very long.
Sure, go ahead.
But there was this the story of this patient, and she's been in a very bad car crash, and they'd only been married maybe a week, and she'd had to go through this operation, and they had to take away half of her jaw, and this made, obviously, her lips go down, far down than they were before. And they talked about this, and her husband said to the doctor, well, what are you going to do? And he said, well, we've had to do it. So the husband came in to visit. Another young couple. She is like in early 20s, and so is he. And he comes in, and her face is obviously disfigured, and her lips are very far down, maybe where the jawline should be, because the nerves have been cut. And she looked at him, and she was crying. And she said, look, I look so ugly. And he looked at her. He sat on the bed, and he held her face, and he kissed her. And he said, look, our lips still touch. And he bent his head where her lips were, and he gave her a kiss. And I thought, that is very touching. That is him telling her that it doesn't change anything. I love you. You are who you are. I love you. You see, we're so focused in this world on the outside of us. If we're told we're ugly, we're traumatized. If we're told that, oh, you don't have the perfect symmetry in your face, we're traumatized. We seek and go and have it changed. But the beauty is, it's what's in the heart that really is important. Yes, we all know the physical, but I think you get to a certain age where you realize that that isn't important, because at the end of the day, I'd rather be with someone who loves me as who I am inside, knows all my faults, because I still have many, by the way, and who isn't interested basically just what I look like. That to me means more than anything, don't you think?
Because also, too, truly what you're talking about is, are you in love with the outside human wetsuit and its badges, or can you love the heart that's behind that, which is the soul essence? And, that's a whole different ballgame. Once you step into that paradigm of being able to understand that, I think there's no going back. It's almost as if you can't even engage in conversations with people that, we engage with them to be able to assist them to maybe enlighten or whatever, but you find that many conversations or many relationships or whatever kind of drift away because you go, this just doesn't resonate at all, and it seems like it's bucking up against the wall so much that many times you have to just plain step away. Don't you think?
Yeah, it's almost like a jigsaw puzzle. They have these 5,000 pieces of jigsaw puzzles, and they all fit beautifully. Right. Well, when you are in that situation, you'll find that no matter how much you try and shove one of those jigsaw pieces, it doesn't fit, and you can't go back. You just can't. I have had conversations, as you said, with people that just don't get it. They just look at me and say, you know what, you're not the same. And I say, thank God for that.
Yeah, right. That's
because
right.
I'm blessed by that. And I don't apologize anymore. I used to say, well, I'm really sorry. I don't apologize because I realize that I've been blessed with reshaping, being restored, and I'm going to keep going. My purpose is to spread that light. My purpose is to be with people who can understand all of that or want to understand all of that. But I can't do anything for them. They can only do that themselves. And I think that's the important thing. You can't change anybody. You can't do that. You can give them information, but you cannot change them. There has to be that desire in a person to take a look. And I always look at life like this. I say to my friends, if you're having a problem, look in the mirror, because the problem is you. It's right there. In marriages, we say, he never listens to me, and yet the woman never listens to him. It's sometimes a huge reflection of each other, because you both want the same thing, but you both blame each other. And when you do that, you get absolutely nowhere. So,
right, but also, too, I think in that perfect example is that maybe someone is resonating in a different space and time, and that's where they want to be. They want to be having their face going forward in a different direction, and maybe you're just not the co-pilot for them. I think a lot of times people will say, but, there used to be a phrase over the decades. They said, well, when someone gets married once and divorces, it's one thing. And when they do it twice, well, it must be the problem with them. And I say, absolutely not. Isn't that fantastic? They learn so much from both relationships, and they're exploring their life. And I think if we can look back at all of those experiences in our lives, we can say, thank you for co-piloting with me. Thank you for being a co-pilot with me. Thank you for showing up with me. Thank you for walking me through the fire so we could both feel what it felt like. Thank you for taking me along a journey to know what it felt like to buck up against each other, or whatever. Or thank you for showing me what the darkness looks like, and I found my own way out. Isn't that great? So I think no matter how or what we have been through, if we can turn it and look in retrospect and say, I can choose to romance it in a different way and be able to see how it has been a gift. My life has been a gift. That truly is the golden key of life, versus saying the other way and being stuck with it. And then, when it comes to your end of lifetime, you're still humming and hawing and everybody's fighting on your deathbed kind of idea, right?
Yes, yeah. I know. I fully agree with that. As I said before, I am not the same person as I was 37 years ago. But each and every experience that I've had, especially spiritual experience that I've had, has changed me inside. I can't explain it. It is just something that maybe there isn't enough verbiage to actually describe it, but it has been changed, and thus I don't think like I used to do. I don't worry like I used to do. I don't get angry like I used to do. I'm very passionate about life. I'm very passionate about speaking out. I've always been like that, even since I was a child. But I do believe that there is hope. When you have hope and you push away fear and you can sit down and really become so introspective about what is happening, you can heal yourself in the sense. But then again, I'm a Christian, and to be quite honest with you, I can't do that without God's strength, because I don't believe I can do anything on my own. There has to be that intimate connection. And I thank God I have that, because it's changed my whole life. And all of these experiences that I have had in this book, I mean, I have another 140 poems like this. And the biggest thing for me was when I looked at them, I just couldn't believe it, because all of a sudden everything came flooding back. But with it didn't come pain. It came the honest realization that I'd been blessed, because if I hadn't been blessed with all these trials, this book would never have been written. And that's how life works.
I think also, too, the idea of words and verbiage, we're still stuck in with definitions. We're still stuck within what the knowing is now. In other words, what is bouncing around in the collective. When I say hot, you know what hot means. When I say cold, you know what cold means, And I think the idea is that we're kind of stuck there a bit. Just as you said, you really couldn't put it into words. That's when you know that you're in that spiritual place in living from that higher essence frequency, because words are no longer needed. That's when things like intuition, telepathy, having an idea or a sense of heartfelt love, or being able to experience and move through things at a rapid pace. That's when words, definitions, justification or validation, or even, as we talk in medicine, evidence-based medicine, it no longer exists in that paradigm of time. So you and I are really sharing what it looks like, I think. I wouldn't say from the other side of the fence, but I would say perhaps from a parrot on a perch kind of view. In other words, we're still in the same room with you. We're still in the same human existence with you. However, we can see it from a lighter perspective, perhaps a little bit above all of the left to right, blah, 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 blah kind of stuff. And we're able to say, what if? Maybe so. Can I forgive? Can I have unconditional love? And let go of the words, right?
Yes, because the words, it's interesting because I was asked a question about my poetry book, and it was like, do you think that this is going to, connect with everyone? And I said, I honestly don't know. I hope it does in some way to bring comfort to others, that they're not alone. This isn't about me trying to help anyone. It's just about me telling everyone that, listen, you're going to be uncomfortable in your life, but take comfort that you're not alone. There's billions of us, and we all go through different things. But I think when it comes to words, the way I express myself is not the way Shakespeare did. It's not the way Karl Marx did. It's not the way whoever did, because the words come from within, and they're your words. But when it comes to the spiritual world, when it comes to looking down at the world and seeing the world for what it really is and what it contains, that spiritual essence just keeps lighting up, and that, to me, is the most rewarding and beautiful experience that anyone could ever have. And I would hopefully pray that everyone can have that. But it's time. We all are walking on our own walk. We all have our own purpose. God knows that purpose. And I think as we continue to walk, we just embrace everything, and suddenly everything will come into play as it should, especially spiritually, because I'm a big believer in Jesus Christ. I just am. I don't apologize for it. People have challenged me on that, but I've had an experience that changed my life, and you'll see it in my future writings, because I get so excited about it, actually, and my friends say, Pat, calm down. I said, no, I can't. Because I never thought myself as worthy of anything like that. I thought, my goodness, I've made so many mistakes in my life, and they're all there, they're all written. I don't live there. But how could I be chosen in that way? Or, I don't know, it's so fantastic, because everybody is worthy. You just have to embrace that. And when you do, it's extraordinary. It's just extraordinary. You live in such joy. You don't judge in the sense that we used to. In the old, I call it going into the old world and the new world. I want to live in the spiritual world. I want my head in the clouds. I want my head in the cosmos. I want to fly. I'm writing a book of fiction, and it goes in that area. But it's spiritual. It's a love story. But nevertheless, it's the very essence of what's up there and what's inside, because they're connected. I believe they're connected. We talked about the cosmos before, and we are connected. And isn't that pleasing? Isn't that delicious? If you want to use those words, I think it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and it's about riding the waves of the tapestry, just like on the cover of your book. You can see it's almost like you take a piece of that old-fashioned silk, or the old-fashioned lace, how it used to be handmade, and you let it blow in the breeze. It's just that's how you begin to feel. That's how you begin to navigate. And it's what you seek all the time. You really seek and feel that. And when you get it, it's like you breathe it in. Like for me, I live in the deep south. I live in New Orleans. It's hot. It's humid all the time. But when a cool day comes along and there's the breeze and the low humidity, it's like I am drinking it in so much you feel like you're getting, air drunk on it, kind of idea, because you just want to feel it and encapsulate it so much. Once you do that with whatever it is that sets your soul, alive, then you'll start adding up the experiences. What else does that? Where else can you go to feel that? How else can you engage with someone to know that? How can you connect with others and be able to feel that inside? I think that really becomes a seeker's journey, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And for me, I've always been, even as a kid, if my mother said be quiet, I wouldn't be quiet. I'd say, why do I have to be quiet? And she'd say, because I told you so. I've always wanted an answer, because if you don't give me an answer, then how do I learn? How do I grow? But the beauty of it is a lot of my friends like heat. I don't like heat, I'm sorry. But I love cold. I love to be in the wind. I love to hear the noise of the trees. I love to walk. And to me, there's something happens when nature actually engulfs you. You can hear things that you've never heard before. Right. And to me, that is exciting. I can get lifted up by that. And I think that the touch, you just look at a flower and the beauty of what it holds within. It's exquisite, and that connection. The invisibility for me of God is visible in nature. It's everywhere. And when you have that essence within you, and that you're loved, and I can't even explain why, but I read the Bible, but inside that luminosity, that incandescent light, that's what I would call it, it's just so comforting. And if all the lights go out and you have to sit in the dark, I'm never in the dark, because there's always that glimmer of light. And I think you have to keep pursuing. You have to pursue the truth. You have to pursue everything that you want to know about that. You pursue. You don't let go. And once you do, as you said before, you become almost like a sponge. It permeates through everything that you are, and it changes everything in your life. And come on. Who wouldn't want that?
That's right.
Personally,
that's right.
I think it's beautiful. And I get excited about my life, and I think that's a great thing, because if I didn't have Christ in my life, it would not be the same. It would be how I used to be.
Right.
And do you understand what I mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just incredible.
I think in closing, Patricia, it's important to also focus on the idea of forgiveness. A lot of people believe that forgiveness, you're not going to get it till you exit this world, because then you'll have your ultimate confession. Hold on. Your ultimate confession, and then you'll be good with God, or he will forgive you then, and maybe you will go to heaven. But in essence, it's about forgiving yourself. When you can forgive yourself for yesterday or today, or for 2 seconds ago, or for 2 seconds from now, then you start to be able to say, I'm not a bad person, I'm not a wrong person, I didn't blah, 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 whatever that you want to attach to that. You simply start to live from this heart-centered kind of life. And if mistakes or challenges or wrong moves or whatever show up, you say, wow, I saw that. I saw that coming. I engaged in it anyway. Look at where I am now. All cool. But I forgive myself today. And then you make a next choice in the next second. I think the idea is that we got so stuck in believing that we had to collect all of our past regrets, and they were our badges on our wetsuit. And in actuality, forgiveness is what will remove those badges and that wetsuit, and you can start living a lighter life. Do you think maybe?
Well, the way that I look at forgiveness, you're absolutely right. People say, well, when you forgive somebody, that's great, but it's not for that person. It's for yourself. And forgiveness is divine, it truly is divine. It's inside of ourselves. And I think that first of all, we have to understand that we're human, and all humans are carnal. Whether we like that or not, we are, and we all have propensities to do many things, good and bad. But the thing is, once you find that light, once you are immersed into that light, you understand that, yes, you're still going to make mistakes, but you repent that and you realize, that wasn't a good thing. I shouldn't have done it. You knew that you shouldn't have done it, but you did it anyway, because it's nature. It's human nature in many places. But the thing is with being a follower of Jesus, yes, he forgives you. And that is the beauty of it. But I think many people misunderstand that to say, well, why do I care? I can just keep doing what I'm doing every day, and I say I'm sorry at the night time, I'm forgiven, I move on. It doesn't work like that. The idea, the need in the person is to become more like Christ was and is. And when you do that, as you said, you live very differently. You live in a wonderful place, because it's almost like you've got the guidelines. You've got all of everything that you need to know is going to push you forward into a life that is going to bring good things. It doesn't mean to say there won't be trials, but you will have that knowledge that there is someone with you all the time. And that's where I stand, and that's what I believe in, and that's what I've experienced. So yes, you're right, what you just said. But for me, it's I know. It's a knowing that Jesus is in me. It's a knowing that I have to do good things. It's a knowing, though, that even if I want to do good things, I should really look at my motive, because your heart is so important. Your mind, when it's held captive by something that's not good, it can change your heart, meaning that the motive that comes from your heart is not going to be good. You shouldn't be doing good things because you want some people to pat you on the back and say how great you are. That's not the idea. So for me, God can see your motive in your heart. He can see what you're thinking. He can see what you're doing. So I give myself to him in that way of guiding me. And I believe in being good with others, but make no mistake, I still make mistakes, and I will continue to do that until the day I die. But I try my best not to. But I'm human, and I don't make that as an excuse. That is a reality. But nevertheless, I have God in my life, and I'm blessed. I'm really blessed. Even this book is a blessing. It was never meant to be actually published, because I found these wonderful poems in a box in a storage room, and I just was going to throw them in the recycling until something said in my head, why don't you open the box? And I opened the box, and 37 years ago, I wrote all of these poems. So I believe in purpose. I believe in seeking the truth. I believe in being honest, not with just people, but with yourself. And I think being open and honest and like talking like this has been extremely beautiful, actually, to have a kind of conversation with you, Dr. Jeanette, today. It's been amazing, and I really want to thank you so much for this opportunity. It's really meant a lot for me.
I think also, too, Patricia, it's about being able to say, many times people will say, but I don't know how. I'll make a mess out of it. I'll make a mistake. Or I don't know what to do or how to go about it. And what you and I share today are a few tools to be able to be guiding and to be able to say, this is how we saw it. And it's not about everyone fitting into our template or our way or doing it because we said. No. It's about being able to say, I feel the energy or the inspiration in your voice. That's what you take forth. And it's about being able to build on that and be able to find your own way, your own unique way. And that's so important. And a lot of times people say, but I don't know how. And I think it's because they have not been given permission. So what you and I are here to say today is that we give you permission to be able to step out of the box that you've created for yourself, because we can see you. We know you. We can feel you. We have an idea of you. We can sense you in all of the other realms of the world. We don't need to have the box with all of its labels on it to know who you are. So sometimes when people step out of it, they're afraid that they'll be alone or they'll be unknown or people won't find them, when in essence we're saying we see you. So you and I are today giving everyone that's listening, we're giving you permission to step out of it and say, we've got you. Isn't that all people are asking for? Is that if I step into this next unknown, will someone have my back?
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with you. I really do. I think how can I say this? I've got so emotional now and excited because it's been extraordinary. It's okay. You have to be, introspection of yourself will bring you out of that box. You have to be brave. You have to have courage. And you have to want to desire something other than where you're at and seek answers. I think it takes courage. Some people can get out that box faster than others. Eventually everyone will get out of some sort of box, but I don't believe in comparing one another to each other either, because we're all on a walk and we're all move at a different speed and we're all heading to a not a different place. We're all heading to the same place, but we have to understand that it's okay. It's okay to be fearful. It's okay to worry about things in that sense, but it's okay. You can be who you are. You don't have to be afraid of who you are because you're unique. You're beautiful. You're created in God's image, and He loves you just as you are. So I think that I truly believe that is the way that life should be looked at, because we are in a spiritual place, in an amazing place, given such an opportunity to be who He wants us to be. And, get out of the box. That's what I say.
Yeah, it's all about eyes wide open, face to the sun, spread your arms wide, and just fly, right? That's what we've always said.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And let's hope you're like an eagle up there on top of the highest tree on earth, Right. And all of a sudden you go, whoa! And that is exciting. So I say get excited about your life, about love, about people, about nature, about everything that you can see. Go take a closer look. Slow down and look at a leaf in the wind. Slow down and look at the shape of a snowflake. They're beautiful, and not one of them is the same. And ask yourself, why is that? Maybe you'll find answers to that. Yeah.
Well, Patricia, it was such a pleasure to dance with you in the ethers today, so to speak. It really helps to delight our hearts. It feels of light energy, and it's just wonderful because we need a few of these spark times to be able to bring us forward, especially if many are having a lot of hardships or dark times. We all have them, and we all are seeking light. So today is a perfect example to use for future reference. If you need to feel light, just keep playing it on in the background in your computer or your phone, and you might start to feel that. So I thank you so much for dancing with me today in the ethers.
Oh, and thank you so much. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I do hope that I can watch all your shows and see where you're going, and maybe even see you again.
Patricia, can you share with the listeners how to find out more information about your work?
About my poetry, well, as I said before, I'm in the process of doing a second book. It will be slightly different, but probably deeper and more spiritual, because as I moved through life, there were many other changes, and some good, some bad. But my work really is focused on a book. It's a book of fiction. It's got a spiritual thread through it, but it's a love story. It's not, I wouldn't say, it's certainly not in the level of like equal romances. It's very different, but it's got a spiritual vein through it. And it deals going up there into space, because I lived most of my life up there anyway, and on Earth as well. But I want it to excite people because it goes to different places, and it deals with a lot of different personalities, different characters. And I'm hoping that that book of fiction will actually make people ask questions. Just by reading a book of fiction, you can create an amazing place for people to look at something and say, do you think this is possible? And I think that's what my book is going to be. It's going to be when you've read it and say, do you think this is possible? And then I will have achieved what I want to achieve. And I'm excited about it. I've been writing it for 10 years, and it's about time that I think it was published, and I'm still working on it. But it's a trilogy, and I can guarantee that everything that I write is evocative, to be honest with you, Dr. Jeanette. It just is, because I see pictures all the time. So I'm hoping very much that people who are interested in that kind of a book, and they don't just want a book that, you can just go through, this will grab your attention. And it'll be exciting, it'll be adventuresome, and it will take you to planets, and it will bring you down to Earth. And that's what I wanted to do. Yeah, they are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Oh, my goodness, there's so many websites, and I don't have them in front of me. iUniverse, of course. You can go onto iUniverse, and you can find them there. But I don't remember them all. There's a huge list of them. But to be honest with you can just put them in a Google and put Life Tapestry, Patricia Stanway, and it'll pop up everywhere.
Very good. Well, Patricia, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure to have you with us.
And it was a pleasure talking to you. You take care. May God bless you, and stay safe. And I do pray for you in being over there, but I'm blessed that I'm here. But I just pray that you're going to be okay and your family stays safe. And thank you again.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much. If you'd like to find out more information about Patricia Stanway, again, the book is A Life's Tapestry. Please do click on the link on the bottom of today's show page to find her book on Amazon. And it is about being able to say, what is in front of me? How can I expand? How can I choose? How can I release? And how can I just put a smile on my face? How can I shed a tear? How can I engage with others? We are becoming much more expansive humans. It's no longer about getting up and going to work, getting the job, doing the things, form your obituary and your legacy, and then check out. We are really being called to step up, become better human beings, and become enlightened souls. So when you're ready to be able to say, how do I do that? What Patricia and I shared today is more about inspiration, being a guide, finding your light, and how do you step out of that old box. If you'd like any more information or be able to have a session with me, please do click on the link on the bottom of today's show page to go directly to my website. There are also cards about nature there. There's also a free book, which it also says about how do you engage and navigate this world. So thank you so much for joining us today. This is Dr. Jeanette-Gallagher, and until tomorrow, have a great day.
Today we discussed many life-changing concepts. Who do you turn to, and how do you know what is best when faced with a health crisis? Dr. Jeanette is a patient advocate. She listens to the patient, the doctors, and the family, clarifies the health issues and concerns, then helps the patient make the best choices going forward. If you would like help implementing change into your life and health, we can talk and see where you are stuck and how to improve the quality of your life. Check the link on the bottom of today's show page or visit dr-jeanette-gallagher.com to schedule a phone appointment today.